Hi, everybody. So glad that you could join me. We do have a live broadcast with my friend Sandy in 3 different states. And she was explaining that she lives on the border of all 3 states, which I had to get out a map to figure out where that was. So super excited that you are here. And then Deborah in South Florida. Super excited to have you guys here to talk about the real estate trends for 2023 and what you are seeing specifically in your markets. So welcome.
Well, thanks for having us.
I'm glad that you're here. So I'm just going to kind of go in order. So since Sandy's next to me, as far as like, what are you seeing? Put you on the spot. Like, what are you seeing in trends? What are you seeing today that maybe you weren't seeing in December or November?
I have seen it, increase quite a bit. The activity. My buyers are starting to come back out now. I know we had a little dip in interest rates, and then they went back up slightly again this week. But yeah, my sellers are reaching out to me again as well. So, I'm starting to get some more inventory. They're still concerned about the interest rate a little bit and finding something.
Right. What about you, Deborah? What are you seeing in your market?
Well, Florida is a different market than the rest of the world. I don't know if you are aware of that, being that we're paradise with our beautiful weather and our beautiful beaches. But our housing market is still high in demand, and we are very competitive still with our offers. I took a client out the past few weeks. We wrote something in December, and we let it go due to some inspection issues. And what happened was we ended up started searching again, and we're finding that the prices are increasing. We're in multiple offer situations still, and we're shopping and shopping and shopping. So the demand is still very high, even though we do see a little bit of a price decrease on the MLS.
Yeah, I agree with you this weekend. And we had kind of slowed down a little bit, and prices had kind of balanced out a little bit. And this weekend, I had a buyer in town, and our average price point is 400,000. So it was $1 million plus buyer that when we wrote an offer, it got accepted today, but there are 7 offers on the table. And that is really a price point that we don't see a lot of around here. So I thought that was, I thought it was pretty amazing that they had 7. I mean, it was a beautiful house on the water. I mean, it was definitely worth it. But to get multiple offers in that price point, I thought was really awesome.
Yeah, people are still shopping, I think so.
Yep, I would agree too. And so you have seen the prices adjust a little bit, Deborah. You said
I did see them adjust, but that doesn't mean I see realtors dropping the prices, but then I'm seeing the multiple offers where they're wanting us to go back up. So they're marketing properly.
I 100% agree with that. I got a listing that she wanted it to be listed at 400,000. And I told her, I was like, it's super important to price it competitively. And if I price it right and market it right, then we'll have multiple offers to drive up the price to what you want it to be. And so we listed it at 385 and we got in 4 offers, and it did. I mean, the offer came in exactly where she wanted it. But I think if we'd started at 400, then I would have had to drop it, Yeah. What about you, Sandy? What are you seeing?
Yeah, same situation. I just listed a house last week and had that conversation with my seller. And it was a little tricky because there was no other comps in the neighborhood to compare to this one. Mine was a 3,400 square foot home. Nothing had been sold in there in the past 3 years that were to equal quality or square footage. Wow. And so I was like, okay, we priced it at $595. And I'm like, I'm not sure about this. I mean, there's comps outside the neighborhood to support it, but in that neighborhood Pacific, no. Well, I had 2 people fly in from California and Texas to see it. We did a coming soon, started on Sunday through Wednesday, nonstop bookings. You could not get a showing. We had to shut it down. It was so crazy.
Wow. That's awesome.
And we ended up with 12 offers on the home.
Good job.
Yes. And my seller was so happy because we got $665.
Oh, and where'd you have it listed at?
$595.
Wow. So that is That is
Yeah.
awesome. So you got well above list price. That is awesome. Good
Yeah.
for you and happy for
Imagine
those sellers.
everything we've been seeing the last, 2 years was thrown at this house. I
Yeah.
mean, the waiving of inspections. I'll pay the seller's transfer tax in the state of Delaware. It's 2%.
Wow.
Yeah. They're doing appraisal gap waivers, all of that good stuff.
So you're seeing that come back or just for the specific house?
I am for certain properties. I am. And then other properties, they're sitting on the market for 2 weeks. And you're like, why? Is this a good house?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted this one.
Yeah. What is your average days on the market?
Well, depends on what neighborhood, what state, because I do Delaware. I mainly do Newcastle County, Delaware, and the average days on market is 19.
Wow, that's awesome.
That was last year, and then this year it's 26.
That's
for
still
the month,
pretty fast.
yeah,
Right?
the month of January. And like Pennsylvania last year was 24 days on market, and this past January it was 27 days on market.
Wow. And Deborah, you're seeing yours stay on the market a little bit longer?
Yeah, they are. I mean, like the average is like 51 days right now. I mean, if something's on there longer, everybody's still looking at it going, what's wrong with that house?
Right. Yeah,
but there's still the fast move. The ones that have the curb appeal, Jennifer, those are the ones that are still moving very quickly, high in demand. Nobody wants to do work on their homes here.
Yeah, I don't blame them. You would think they go to Florida to vacation, not to remodel and decorate and all that. So they want something kind of turnkey.
And they're looking for, I think they're still looking for second homes here. They're not, everybody's like, I want to get my other home in Florida. I still want to do that, East Coast and West Coast. But we're still getting a lot of calls for second homes, and nobody's afraid of the condo situation or anything like that. But I'm working with one of our Remax agents, getting ready to show her homes in Delaware. So this is a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful thing. So so the days on market, so Sandy, you're saying yours, it sounds like didn't really change from last year. It's still pretty quick. Is that accurate?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, it went from 19 last year to 26 on average. But, of course, like that one awesome home that pops up that everybody wants, it's gone in a matter of days. Or I've even seen some agents shut it down in a day and not give anybody a chance to get in there. Yeah, so I'm still seeing that. Our market's different than like Deb's. We don't have the second home inventory here. It's just your average, area for the Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania region that I'm in.
Right. That's right. So our average days on market, and it was like 16 and now we're at 31, but our inventory is still low. And so everything's still moving. The prices are starting to be a little bit more competitive. But, I was looking at the history, and the prices on average across the country have gone up every single year since 2014. And across the nation, 51% since 2020. So that's crazy return on investment. If you think of anybody bought a home 2 years ago, that on average, they have 50% equity. I don't know anybody most of the people that I know would not have saved that much money. My daughter's house, I mean, she's got $200,000 in equity. I know that a 22-year-old, 23-year-old would not have saved that on her own, in 2 years. So I think it's an amazing opportunity, and prices are starting to level out. But I was looking at all these different reports, and gosh, I mean, the predictions are all over the place, from going up 7% to down 1 or 2%. But overall, I think it's still staying pretty steady.
I think we're pretty much doing a little wave, just a little bit. It's not. It's not. I don't see in Florida. I can only speak for Florida. I don't see us having this huge drop like we did in 2008. I'll use my own neighborhood as an example. Our neighborhood in 2007 and 8, the prices had gotten up to about 400,000. Now that same neighborhood is almost 800,000. I sold one recently for 739 in this neighborhood.
So absolutely doubled.
Yeah. And now if I said they were dropping, they're like high sixes.
Yeah. So they're just leveling
Yeah.
off, like you said.
I
That is
think we'll level off because the banks had a good position where they were not going to lose everything this time around.
That's exactly right. So anybody out there, I know a lot of real estate agents follow this. So please put your comments. Let me know what you're seeing in your area. But I agree with you, Deb. I think it's starting to level off, and a couple of agents, are getting scared. But it's interesting because the people that are getting scared is because they got into the industry during COVID, right? So they got in when they didn't really have to work hard to get a lot under contract, and now you're actually negotiating deals.
Now you have to learn how to do real estate.
Which I like it so much better than this like crapshoot, like, do you want the house? How much do you want it for? Like there's no rhyme or reason, just throw a number. So I like it. I'm very analytical, and I like the data. I like the numbers, and I like being able to advise somebody based on true data, not whatever we were doing a year ago.
Well, our listings that in January came on the market, they were about 18% increase of new listings.
Okay.
So if that's
the number of listings,
what was that?
As far as the number of listings?
Yes, new listings hitting the market was about 18 to 19%.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was based on like a Rocket Mortgage report.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about you, Sandy? Do you know like your new listings? Our new listings have gone down compared to last year.
Yes. If I go by just this past January 22, 23, for like the state of Delaware, we had 487 homes listed in Newcastle County, Delaware. Of those, 431 went pending and 491 sold.
Wow.
So the median, that's for 22, compared to this year, we've only had 405 listed and only 351 sold. Yeah.
So, but if you had you said 409 and 351 have sold. So that's, you're still selling, right?
Yeah. Well, the median listed price from last year went from 275 to 305 this year.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was interesting when I was looking at prices. So if I looked at it from December to today, they had dropped a little bit. But if I looked from this January from last January, it was up 18%. So, and it's still, I think last January, we were at 375, and this year we're at 408. So it's kind of very similar to that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
same here. It is increasing. You think it's decreasing, but I think people are just adjusting the list price, and the homes they're still not losing their value.
Yeah, it's the damn media and telling everybody that it's gone down, and it probably has gone down since November, but not since January. You still have got that and keep going up. And I don't know that we've ever been in such a market that we look month after month after month after month, whereas before I think you kind of say, oh, this is what it's gone up since last year. Right. But so Linda saying that she is still getting offers and that it's just listings are hard to come by. And I 100%, I 100% agree with that. And Rich says, hey, but so then are you telling people it's a good time? Like, what is your advice like going into this market for your buyers or sellers?
My advice is basically it's a good time to buy. It's still a good time to sell. You're still going to get more equity out of your home, and I think that people coming to Florida are coming here for a specific reason. We have, not going to bring anything else outside, but we have a great system down here, and people are flocking here to be a part of our state and what our state stands for.
Yeah.
And we've gone through some hard times. Yes, we have our hurricanes, and our West Coast is recovering. It's going to take a while for that. But they're still up and running. They're resilient, just like the East Coast is. When the Keys got hit, they got back up and running, and we pulled together as a family here in Florida. And my, part of my tagline, as you know, is from Fort Lauderdale to the Palm Beaches. I work in 2 counties because I sit right in the middle of both of them. And they're both great counties. They're very different from each other. So when people come to Florida, they tell me what they like to do. And I
And then you
try
direct
to
them.
guide them in which
Yeah.
areas that they would really like and enjoy the most.
Oh, that's awesome.
From beaches to schools to theater to being on the avenue. And we try to just encourage them to come here. But the truth of the matter is they're still buying them. It's hard to get a good property right now because we don't have a whole lot of inventory at this
That's
moment.
right.
Mhm.
That's right. I think we're seeing that across the country. Is that pretty much what you're seeing too, Sandy?
Yeah, pretty much. I am getting a lot of people relocating though from like California, Arizona, New York, New Jersey. They're coming mostly to like Delaware, some Pennsylvania. But yeah, I've been more busy than Delaware the last few years than over all 3 states that I work in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sandy was explaining to me that 3 states, you have 3 different contracts, 3 different rules, 3 different addendums. And I don't know how I could not do that. So good.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I am very impressed. I was super impressed. I have a hard time just keeping up with the rules and regulations of North Carolina, and I've been doing this 18 years, but it changes every single year. It's always changing. It's always evolving, which is what I love. It's what I love about this industry too, But so I live on the coast also. So I'm north from you, Deborah, but up a couple of states, but along that same coastline. And most of our people move in. I was getting mostly like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania people moving here, but it's shifted. This year I've had this year being 12 months, had a lot of people from Florida, which typically they're either thinking here or Florida. So when they moved from Florida, I thought that was interesting, but most of them were grandparents and the grandchildren were closer here. So that was their reasoning for the move. But yeah, I love Florida. We have more seasons. We do not have snow, knock on wood. We don't usually have snow. But I think are a little bit not quite as hot as Florida is. Definitely. I saw somebody post on Facebook that it was 85 degrees the other day and it was 40 here and I was absolutely freezing and I was wanting to be in Florida.
Come on down.
Yes.
It's your second home.
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, it was funny because Sia was just commenting on here and I was telling her that we need to start up there at Sandy and then work our way through the states going south along the southeast and knock on everybody's door, knock on your door and just get to visit with all of her friends.
I would love that. I would love for everybody to come down. And I'd love to show you my town the way I see it. I'm a native Floridian, born and raised in Fort Lauderdale. Wow. And my father was a builder in Boca Raton. And my grandfather was a builder. My brother is a builder. And they've all retired. And I just would like to see all of you come down and let me show you the way I see South Florida.
Wow. I would love that. And your family's been there for generations. That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to.
Thank you.
And Sandy, where's Wilmington, Delaware compared to you?
Certain parts of Wilmington, I can be there in early as 20 minutes from my house. I do about an hour outside of Kennett Square, the big loop-de-loop, just so I can hit all 3 states. But there's so much to do here as well. Just right outside of Philly, where we can have a cheesesteak taste off if y'all wanted to come up.
Oh, that would be fun. A real Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, we have the Poconos nearby. There's, ski lodges. There's people are quite surprised that there's a lot of wineries around here as well.
Oh,
and we actually have a few guys that are from Italy. So we do have some nice Italian wine here too.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we have Lancaster, Amish country. My office is in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, which is the mushroom capital of the world. Not people realize that, and when I didn't know anything about how you grow mushrooms. I grew up on a tobacco farm in Southern Maryland. So I'm picturing farmland, rows and rows of mushrooms being grown. No, they grow them in these like houses here with like all the moisture controlled year round. Yeah, it's quite interesting how they do it. So it's not your magical mushrooms, they're your portobello.
They might be a different kind.
oyster mushroom, all that kind of stuff. There's all the companies are here,
Yeah.
and then we do have some beach areas as well and lakes. Lots of 55 plus communities within a half a mile from my house. So,
Wow. But not yours.
no. I got a couple more years before I hit that. Not many, though. I'm getting there.
Me too, as I'm sitting here looking at it.
Don't look.
2.5 hours outside of New York City as well. An hour outside of Philly, maybe about 2 hours down to DC. So I'm really in a good central location for several places, and also Dover, Delaware. There's the military base there as well.
That's awesome. So a lot of people will call me from our website, and because our website is homesforsellwilmington.com, and they're calling, they want Wilmington, Delaware. And I'm like, different state. That's right. So now I know who to point them in the direction of. Absolutely. Because I'm always like,
oops.
Yeah, wrong state. And yeah.
Oh, you're so good at what you do. You downplay what you do, girl. You're very, very good.
Well, thank you.
I love the shows. I love all the education you bring to us as realtors, but also your clients.
Oh,
So
thank you. Thank you. That's very sweet. I have to keep reminding my team of all the value that I have.
Tell them to call me. I'll let them know.
Fabulous.
I did have a question on your markets. Do you guys, about the seller concessions, are you guys you seeing any of them giving seller concessions at this time?
A little bit, but not very much. I mean, I thought it had, for me, it had sort of shifted where, 6 months ago, there was no negotiations. There was no anything. Sellers were not doing any repairs. And now it's gotten to be a little bit more of the sellers willing to do the repairs and willing to do a little bit of that negotiation. So me personally, I haven't really had a lot of seller concessions, but as the team, we are starting to see those come back into play.
And are you guys still dealing with, how about you, Sandy? Any seller concessions over there?
A little bit. If the house has been on the market a couple of weeks, then we're going to ask for, especially my first time home buyers that I'm working with,
But are the sellers giving them, you think, or like
they are a little
bit? They don't want to give them here at this moment. I've seen a couple, but it's shifting a little bit. But I know you had asked about the different types of mortgages. So
yes.
I'm not doing a whole lot of FHA and VA loans. More VA than FHA, but we're still in that conventional loan that the seller is still demanding that from the client.
Right. We're starting to see. So in ours, that is one difference. We are starting to see FHA and VA and sellers accepting those options.
I'd
What
like
about
to
you,
see that come back down here because people, need that low down payment to get into the homes.
What helps the first time home buyers? It helps the military. I mean, and I understand from a seller's perspective, it is harder with the appraisals, and it is, they are stricter on everything when you get one of those governmental loans, but there's a need for those loans and for those people to be able to buy. So what about you, Sandy? What are you seeing?
Sort of the same. I explained to my sellers, about the difference with the FHA and the VA and, how important it is for them to, use their benefits and stuff. And they are more willing to accept the VA now. And, because everybody also has their mentality of how FHA was years ago. So, I have to explain to them it's not like that anymore. And things have been appraising. I have not had, any appraisal issues on anything either. So things have been still, moving along.
So I will tell you something that I just learned, and I don't think we're seeing it now, but I do think we're going to start seeing the issue. Is I went to the North Carolina Board of Realtors, and they had like an inauguration for some agents there. There was like 500 or 600 people. And one of the things that they were talking about was that Freddie and Fannie Mae, Mac, the governmental industries, all the huge lenders, that they are getting data collectors. Have y'all heard of this?
No.
So instead of getting appraisers in there, they're hiring Joe Smith off the street to come in and do data collection on the house, take some pictures, just roughly checking in boxes, put it into a portal, and then an appraiser somewhere else in the United States, which us, it's super important that you know the area because there's a huge difference between Wrightsville Beach and Carolina Beach on the prices. And it's only a 30-minute drive, but it is $1 million difference, in that price. So they're having these appraisers in Texas or wherever appraise the values of these homes. So it's a huge complaint and they're trying to get it stopped. But what had happened, so I don't know about y'all, but we have switched our lock boxes, right? So now we're able to give anybody a 1-day code. So an appraiser, but not really an appraiser, a data collector is calling the listing agent and saying, I need the 1-day code because I'm an appraiser, but they're not an appraiser. They're a data collector. And in 2 instances, that data collector had just gotten out of jail for theft. And so they were hiring them, and the agents were thinking that they were an appraiser and giving them the 1-day code and allowing them into the home. But it was it was a big fight, and everybody was trying to. It was at the Congress level. Everybody was trying to fight Freddie and Fannie to make them realize the importance of appraisers. And
well, we as realtors know it's important to protect our clients and whether they're buyers or sellers, and to make sure that they get good representation from us and personal hand-holding all the way through. So thanks for sharing that with me, because I had a fraud experience this morning happen just to me personally. I got a phone call saying they were going to shut my electric off because I didn't pay my bill. And I did pay my bill. So I thought that was a little crazy. And of course, I spent some time reporting that. And that is the new scam. They want you to call a number because you're panicked. They got me. But I
got a text from Amazon, and it was saying the same thing, that that some weird activity had happened on my account. And they were going, and it was all this stuff, and it was to call this number. But then I actually looked up Amazon and actually called Amazon, and they were like, "We will not text you." Like, it's,
it's just be, they used to be just buyer beware. Now it's everybody beware. We need we need to, be aware for each other and stay safe.
Yeah, I agree. And Rick, you're exactly right about the fiduciary. But the thing is, the agents don't know. And that, they're telling the agents, I'm with Wells Fargo or I'm with XYZ Bank. And the agents don't know any difference because nobody's talking about this data collector. I just thought it was super interesting that was my big takeaway from 3 days of meetings was that appraiser. But obviously you could see all the problems. But Deborah, you honed in on a good point. And my biggest advice, and I always kind of end these meetings in the same way, is my biggest advice is you need an agent that has been in the business longer than COVID has been around. You need an agent that has seen interest rates above 5%. You need an agent that has seen the days on the market longer than 45, right? It's very important to get an experienced agent on your side, whether buying or selling. And to be honest with you, for the general public, whenever you tell me you've got an agent that will do it at 1%, I can prove to you all the things that I do will bring you enough money to pay all the fees associated and still walk away with more than that 1% agent. So it's important to really interview who you're going to hire for the biggest purchase of your entire life, for the most part.
Exactly. Part of my tagline is also who you hire matters.
100%. I think it's so important. And it might not have been, I guess the public didn't see the importance, but you see the iBuyers in Zillow, 60 million, 70 million in lawsuits, because they actually need good agents that know what they're doing and representing them.
Yeah. I don't think the public sees that as much as we do.
Yeah.
So I think education will be key to remind our clients that this is going on.
Yeah. And I agree the public doesn't see it, but they're the ones suing. So, they are feeling it's not us suing. It's the general public that is suing. And $70 million worth of lawsuits, that is a lot of people.
Wow.
But anyway, well, thank you, ladies, so much. I love y'all. And I can't wait. I get to spend, are you going to be there for 4 days? 5 days?
Saturday to Thursday.
3 days. 3 days.
3. When are you going? When are you going?
I come in Sunday and then I leave again Wednesday, right at mid-concert.
Okay. Well,
Gotta get
I
home.
cannot wait. We are going to Vegas. Woohoo! Remix's 50th year
Years of
anniversary.
Remix.
So super excited.
Mhm.
Can't decide if this is. I'm like, I see a piece of hair. I can't decide if it's sorry.
I can't wait to see everybody. This is going to be
Yes.
a wonderful celebration for all of us. We've all worked very hard.
Yeah, it is going. I think it's going to be an awesome time. So I look forward to seeing y'all. And the first round of drinks on me. So I'm looking forward to it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Bye, ladies. I'll see you in a couple of
Thank
weeks.
you.
Yes.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yes.